Welcome to the Unclehack Podcast, where dudes pretty much just talk dude shit.
Oh, baby. We are back. Jesus Christ. A month away from the goddamn soundboard, and I can't even, live studio audience. Everything's falling apart. Life is good, though. Life is great. 1 month on the road in Ontario with Brett Forte, Sam Walker. Did I learn a lot? Did I ever? Shook hands of thousands of Danger Cats comedy fans. Yeah. Oh, and what a treat that was. I'm reminded of all the silly things and horrible advice that has worked in some of yours favor, I may add. We'll get into that. We're back to the regular programming now that I am back here in Alberta with the studio. Was it difficult on the road to make sure that we were hitting times and all that? Yes. Holy shit. A 2-hour time difference just threw me in a goddamn blender. I couldn't believe it. But anyways, upcoming dates. I am in Calgary, May 13th with Jason Ellis. Some of you may have been fans of his Sirius XM show back in the day. I will be middling for Jason Ellis. And then May 21st, the legendary Danger Room is back at the Comedy Cave. Jason Ellis tickets, I believe you can get them on his website, but for Danger Room, dangercatshop.com. All right. We're back, baby. Boy, oh boy. 1 month in Ontario. What did I learn? What a province, okay? What a province. I don't understand it. I don't ever want to understand it. I don't want to live there. My sweet Jesus above me. Why? Oh, why? I don't get this, okay? Maybe I've been spoiled too much by living in a place in Alberta where there's no provincial sales tax, but they double down on taxing the hell out of you there. Secondly, toll roads. Toll roads. You make a wrong turn, it could cost you $60 goddamn dollars. And I know I'm sounding like a tightwad by saying that, but my dear Lord, you take one road, $60 to travel on a fucking road? What a okay, I'm going to go on a tirade for a second here. Then I want to get into the advice that I had gave in the past of me just mindlessly ranting on this podcast that worked in the favor for a young guy about a dick pic, okay? About a dick pic. Never in my wildest dreams. On this adventure that I'm on of like spewing hot garbage into this microphone for your entertainment, did I ever think that my advice would ever work in your favor? Did I think that? No, never. Anyways, where was I going? Listen, I'm to the point now, right? Politics, economy, money, all of it. It just doesn't make any fucking sense anymore. You know what I mean? You read the articles, right? It's always coming out. The banks are collapsing. The mortgage rates are going through the roof. And I wake up now, even I'm chasing my dream. And my dream is to be a stand-up comedian, right? And I'm chasing it. I want to be a successful stand-up comedian on top of it. There's just being a comedian, and then there's being like one that you're like excited to go see, right? We see these idiots, you're like, oh, who's the headliner? No idea. Never heard of them, right? And then there's the, holy fuck, so-and-so's coming to town. I don't want to be the, oh, who the hell is that? And I understand, like, I'm young in this game. Okay, but I see some people that have just been floating along and they've been in this shit for I don't even know how many years. And you're just like, holy fuck, dude, if that's me, I'm just going to fucking, I'm going to paint a goddamn wall. I'm going to do some AI art, assault. What could be the I? Assault instigated art on my wall. That's my kind of AI art. All right. Assault instigated art on my wall. Paint it. If I'm 10 years, 12 years down the road and I'm still like, I'm doing Magoonies Comedy Club just to fill a weekend for them, But like I was saying prior, before I took a little spin off the side, but this, I'm looking at everything. Taxes are going up. You start listening to politicians, and maybe I hate this pill terminology. You know what I mean? Oh, you've been red pilled. You've been black pilled. No, I'm just seeing it for what it is. I don't need a fucking pill. I don't need a goddamn pill to see that maybe I'm just being bent the hell over right now. You know what I mean? You notice that the media tells you one thing, but if you go to alternative sources, I hate to fucking, hey, what did I tell you right in the beginning? I was talking shit on TikTok, and then I became a fan of it. I was a fan before everybody else, and that's where that's the flag I'm going to plant here, right? How many of you were like, oh, TikTok's gay. Why are you on TikTok? What are you watching, tweens dance? And it's like, yes, I was, but now I'm watching footage of Paris, France, of just like going to war with the goddamn police force over there. And it looks to me like they're winning. They're beating the hell out of them guys over there, and it's, and then the media comes out and they're like, they're upset that, they raised the retirement age. And it's not that, the media is now just like, it's blatantly lying to every single one of us. There's no truth or substance behind the things that they print and put out there. And then when they put out false information, they double down on it and be like, well, we sent an apology. And it's like, well, no, an apology isn't good enough because now you've divided a country, but we said sorry. It's such a coward way out. So when I see these things, I just become angrier and angrier as I'm reading this nonsense day in, day out, and you look at it, and then finally I've come to a point, right? I've come to a head where I now just like, I don't care, right? Throw me in fucking prison for tax evasion for all I give a shit. Oh, it's a vacation. Oh, you don't pay tax? No. Why would you at this point? Why would you? Like, how can you, like, actively wake up and be like, oh, inflation is absolutely destroying my life. I understand you have to work, and the motivation behind the work is to better your life, or you're a pawn in the game, and we like to believe that someday we get to retire. We get to retire at 65 years old. You get to log those hours in, day out, break your back for the almighty dollar. And then finally, one day you get to kick your feet up, and that's the day you die. What a life. And I'm seeing this more. And I know this sounds like very commie of me to like, oh, we should do. I'm not saying distribute everything evenly. I think that's the worst thing. I think hard work should be rewarded. I'm just saying, like, maybe these scumbags at the top shouldn't be lifting all this fucking cash off the hard work of individuals that actually get up off their ass. You know what I mean? Like, you have CEOs and politicians who just sit here. They go out, they do their little rally, right? And they're like, if you donate money to me, I'll make change happen. And then no change happens. And you're sitting there like fucking beating your own dick to the war drum of false information and false hope. And you just stare in the mirror and be like, what the hell am I doing this for? I've come to that, the anger that I once had in my younger years. I'm now just fucking, I'm infuriated, right? You work your fucking ass off to try and be something. And I know, I'm pent up. I'm ready to release, daddy. I'm ready to let it all out of my system. But it's infuriating. I'm watching like regular folk, hard-working folk just get bent over, fucked in the ass, and not even a fucking kiss goodbye, not even a number on the nightstand. You know what I mean? It was just, it was a dry fuck, hard up the hoop, and you didn't even get a first name. You got a fake first name. You didn't even get the real first name. Isn't that ignorant? Isn't that ignorant of them? And then you got to sit there and be like, thank you for that. Thank you for that. You got to thank them. As if they're doing you a favor. It makes no fucking sense to me at this point. The banks are collapsing, the dollar's collapsing, the prices are going up, mortgage rates are going up, interest rates are rising. Everything is just built against you, and you're supposed to just put a stupid smile on your face and be like, everything is fucking perfect. And then you get the idiots. I love going back to using, like, especially in Canada, because I can't really think this is a compliance and just obedient behavior in Canada is celebrated here. As long as you're cheering on the almighty powerful suit dummies, you get rewarded by being taxed more. That's your reward. And that's how this place was built. I seen it. I wish I could remember the TikTok video. It was in my feed. Maybe it was TikTok. Maybe it was YouTube. I don't know. But I watched this guy, and he was talking about the difference between America and Canada. And America was built on a rebellious behavior. So when we sit back here and like, we try to posture up as if we're better people, we're better behaved than the Americans. And it's like, well, no, we're just pussies. Because he made the comparisons. Like Canada was built on compliance, right, with the monarch. And the queen, we're so stupid over here. We even put the queen and the king on our goddamn money. You know, we're supposed to be a separate nation. We don't want to. And maybe I'm not the one to be talking about this. But what I'm getting at here is I enjoy rebellious spirit. You know, I like when people rise up and they're like, fuck you, something isn't right here. But we don't celebrate that in Canada. And it was very apparent with the Trucker Convoy and how easily we're convinced that the mainstream narrative is the one that you're supposed to follow. We're not supposed to question anything here. We're not supposed to question anything here. You're supposed to just fall in line, shut the fuck up, pay your taxes, and get bent the fuck over. That's what you're supposed to do in Canada. Where in America, you know, once you have like freedom, when you have freedom and you're, you know, all the amendments that they have, right? They cherish those. When they built that country, those amendments were there to back the everyday man. But here in Canada, like for instance, when the Trucker Convoy happened, that's where I was going with this. When the Trucker Convoy happened, I like it. You know, I do. I like it when people like you and I, who listen to, I imagine that most people that listen to this podcast are very similar, right? We all get up, we all go to work, we have a job. It doesn't matter what that job is, you know? I don't give a shit at this point what job you have. This whole like blue collar, white collar, fucking, what is that saying that is like fucking dirt work over cubicles or whatever? Who gives a shit? You know, it's not like that guy that's sitting in the office is happier than you are. You know, are you happy, honestly, getting up and just breaking your back every day? Probably not. I'm just going to say it. Let's be God honest. I love working hard, but I don't like working hard for somebody else's success, right? I do. I enjoy getting up and doing this shit, you know, because it's fun for me. It doesn't feel like work, but I'm working for myself in my own sort of way. Do I have is there barriers that I got to jump over as well? Yes, there's fucking comedy club owners that I have to deal with. There's theater owners. There's fucking bar owners that may not like what the hell we do. So there's decisions that have to be made inside this little troop that have to be smart and calculated. And that's fine. I can deal with that. But getting up and just like, there's something about just busting my ass so that way some fucking asshole can make more money off me. And I get it. Being a business owner is hard. And I'm talking like small town business. I don't know why I'm saying that. Small businesses, I'm all for. I'm all for that. Big business is where I start getting a little fucking like, I don't like this. You know? And here I go again. You know, it's back to the regular episodes because I'm going on tirades and I forget where I'm trying to piece this all together. But the Trucker Convoy is like the one thing that I look at, and it's just like a lot of regular folks got together. They said, I don't like what the fuck is going on here. And then you have all these losers that just sat in their apartment with their masks on by themselves, looking down, being like, well, what freedoms did you lose? What freedoms did we lose? What freedoms do we have? Why don't we start there? Why don't we start fucking there? Let's start the conversations on what freedoms do we have, and then we'll get to what ones we've lost, okay? Let's start there. What freedoms do we have? Oh, I get the freedom of waking up and going and doing a 9 to 5 every day. And then on top of it, I got to deal with idiots who think that their goddamn own personal problems are somehow mine. And I got to navigate those waters to make sure that I don't have to have a visit with HR because I said something offside and that upset that person over there. You know what I mean? It's just a never ending fucking game. So it's like, what freedoms? I don't even have freedom of speech. And I'm like I've gotten to the point now where I'm like an absolutist when it comes to freedom of speech. I don't give a fuck what it is at this point. I want everybody should have freedom of speech. And that goes both ways. Okay. I may not like the speech, but I have to, take a step back because at this point in the game, we're just trying to censor what we don't like. And I think more speech is better than no speech. So once we start getting to the point where we're nitpicking words and we're pulling some stuff back, and then all of a sudden it goes online and we're like, oh, that's against community guidelines. How long before community guidelines are now in public? And I think that it already is based on the court of public opinion, You say one thing that's maybe a little offside or out of context that nobody really understands what you were trying to do. It could be a 3-second clip and you let something rip. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, all the fucking towers come collapsing, kind of like something that happened in the past, But it's just gotten to that point where I'm just like, yes, let all the free speech, especially there's a specific journalist that always goes on, are we going to let this speech happen? This hate speech happen? You may know, we cover it quite often on this show, but it's gotten to the point now where it's just like, it's so ridiculous that every time she opens her mouth, you're like, this person is a complete fucking idiot. This person is a complete idiot. And I'm not afraid to say her name. It's fucking Rachel Gilmore. We all know who that is. She was a global reporter, was then let go. Now she's just on Twitter, just like screaming out into the void, trying to gather any sort of like following. And I can sense like, I think this is what's happening in her little world right now, is that she's garnered attention now by playing victim. So then people like dogpile onto her. And meanwhile, she's like slips out of the dog pile and then tweets out something else and be like, see, everybody hates me. And then everybody dog piles on that. And then that just curates more attention towards her. So that way her content is being fed into more feeds. And then it's just like this tug of war of like how many likes I can get on a post or how many comments I can get on a post, rather than just reporting what she wants to report on, right? Instead, it's just like it's false victimhood to further her quote unquote career in journalism. So it is entertaining to watch, but at the same time, she's also trying to be like hoorah and all this, we need to censor speech bullshit, which I'm staunchly against. I'm all for saying whatever the hell you want, but if you're going to say whatever the hell you want, you got to be able to take in whatever anybody's going to throw back at you. And I'm fine with that. I've been called some pretty heinous shit. I've been threatened online. Everything that's happening to these people, this was happening to me like 6 years ago when I put out a pipeline video, of me just acting like an idiot, a complete moron outside of a dig site where they were putting a pipeline in that had nothing to do with my work. Nothing to do. I was just checking pipelines that day and I was like, oh, they're installing a new line. And I had my GoPro and I just thought it'd be funny to set up the GoPro and just start going off about some shit. And it just worked out. But then that was the one that just fucking kabooshed and got like a lot of views. And it came with praise. It came with a little bit of praise. And it also came with a little bit of, a little bit of hate speech towards me. But God forbid, I'm not about to sit here and play victim over the fact that I put something on the internet and people disagreed with it. Did it suck? Yes. It was a little weird to put something on the internet and then have it received in like such a negative manner that people are like, I'm going to find you and I'm going to kick your nuts into your skull and watch them rattle around like dice in a fucking Yahtzee cup, So it is what it is. All for the free speech. That's what I'm getting at, folks.
Come on, man.
Boozy, good to hear from you. Anyways, let's get into it. I just went off for 20 minutes of something that I felt was needed to be said. On the road, advice given that worked. Okay, dick pic guy. So I can't remember the town we were in. Everything was such a blur and the venues were all the same. So it was just like, it all meshed into one. You ever done something for so long that you cannot, even though the location change is happening? Like, for instance, if you work on a pipeline and you're going to the same location every day for 14 days, the days start to blend together. This was like a month on the road out there. We're going to like the Cineplexes is where we were performing at. And it was like every venue looks similar. Every theater looks the same. So it was like difficult to like differentiate where I was at what time. And even like names of the town, it was like fucking so hard to. Anyways, what is this? This isn't good content, Brendan. What the fuck are you doing? Anyways, a gentleman came up to me after the show, shook my hand, and he goes, you know what? Love the podcast. Love the podcast, he says. And of course, I'm bricked up because I love nothing more than my ego being stroked, right? Nobody loves their ego getting stroked more than me. And this young gentleman looked at me and he said, you know what? On one of your podcasts, you were going off about men being pussies and just not shooting their shot. Just send a picture of the hog to whoever you're chatting with. Just fucking whip the wrench out and show the tool set, you know? And this gentleman right here said he was chatting with a girl and he just really wanted to get with her, sent a picture of his piece, and it worked. Couldn't believe that. I couldn't believe that I said that. First off, I can't believe that I'm giving this type of advice and it's working. You know what? I hate to say it, but sometimes I like to just self-sabotage, okay? Sometimes that self-sabotage leaks over into something like this, and I'm just encouraging people to do outrageous things to possibly to incriminate yourself, you know? What if that lady was underage? You would have found out the hard way. Chris Hansen would have been knocking on your goddamn front door and be like, hey, you know what you're doing back there, right? And you're like, what? What are you talking about? Well, got some hard news for you, but it didn't go down that way. Apparently, this guy sends a picture of his wrench after listening to a podcast that I did in the past, talking about just rip a pick, pull her out and be like, listen, this thing right here, I want inside you some way, shape, or form. And it worked. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is I am the retarded Andrew Tate. That's right. Everybody's turning to Andrew Tate. He just turned Muslim. He's, that video showed up online of him smacking around that lady. None of that's going to happen with me. But what I will do is I will pick up the loose ends. I'll tie all the loose ends, right? He's like, "Oi, mate, you got to go out there and tell women that they fucking suck." Where I'm like the opposite. I'm like, listen, we all know what we want, gentlemen, right? We just want a little peace and quiet. You want to get a little buzz on every now and then, and a little piece of pussy every now and then, you know? It's harmless lifestyle right there. Instead, you got fucking Baldy over in Romania getting locked up because he's got fucking females chained to the wall stroking their pussy on webcams. I'm just over here being like, listen, I'm not saying sexually assault a lady or chain him to a wall and trying to make some money off her. I'm just saying maybe, just maybe, a little cuddle at night. Maybe just a jerk off, you know, rather than using your hand or a pocket pussy, you know. It's probably getting old, fucking a fleshlight if you got one of them. Or maybe it's nice. I don't know. I don't got one. I should probably invest. But what I'm saying is maybe, just maybe, that dick pic could be the reason you get some snivs that night. And it worked out in this man's favor. So I just want to say, well done, sir. You follow my advice. See, my steps to life are very easy to follow. You know, you can live a good life, you know. There's no reason. What color is your Bugatti? You know what I mean? You don't got to live like that. That seems stressful, doesn't it? Just walking around. What color is your Bugatti? Imagine everywhere you walked, you had to yell in somebody's face. What color is your Bugatti? Have you smacked a woman in the face today? And I know, like, there's probably some fellas out there that listen to this that are like Andrew Tate fans. I do find him entertaining. I don't necessarily think that graduating from Hustlers University is going to change your life. That's why I'm starting my own program, Uncle Hack's Steps to Life. That's what I got to do. I got to get in one of these programs, you know, and I'll convince everybody that listens to this that if you join my program, not only will you get pussy, consensual or unconsensually, you can also lose money. And what's more fun than losing money? We all gamble. I imagine some guys on here love to gamble on sports. You know, you'll make a bet with your buddy. Hey, I bet you $20 you can't piss on that electric fence and it won't drop you. You know, simple things like that. So we like gambling. Why not just lose a little money? And that's called the Patreon. Patreon.com. What a setup. Patreon.com/DangerCat69. Isn't that something? You could just do that. You want to lose money every month? Just do that. Join the Patreon. Disgusting, I know. But I'm happy to know that the lunatic advice that I spread on this podcast has allowed this young gentleman to spread something else. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Senior Chan. Great to hear from you as well, good sir. But anyways, that was just the one thing that I wanted to bring up. It really stuck out from the road of all the stories. It was wonderful to go and meet the fine folks that are out in Ontario that do support what we're up to. We really appreciate it. It was a blast being out there, if I'm being truly honest. It was very humbling and also very exciting. It was exhilarating to be in a new place. You know, we spent a majority of our time doing stand-up out here in, more western areas of the country, but to go to a brand new province for the first time, pretty much ever. That's the first time I've been out that way in my life. And for that to be a time where I'm attempting to become something that I've always dreamed of, and people coming out and supporting what we're doing and enjoying themselves and delivering every show with laughter being the basic currency of that, the currency exchange. It was very, I don't even know if there's a word to describe it, to be honest. It was amazing. It was a great time. I've never had more fun being on the road with those other two. And it was, like I said, just amazing to go out there and shake hands of those that, I may not necessarily just bump into while being in Alberta. So it was great. Thank you again for coming out to all the shows in Ontario. So I think with that being said, it is time to get into our first article of the day. You know what? This drag queen stuff, it's good stuff, isn't it? Isn't it, boys? It is, it's next level. It's some humorous shit. And here we go. Our first article back in the studio with the live audience. U.S. Navy hires active duty drag queen to be the face of the recruitment drive. Now, there's a little bit of an ad running here, and we're going to see. Okay, here we fucking go. Let's bring this up. Let's party. Let's fucking party, right? Here we go. What is that? Oh, why is this? Oh, that's why. Give me 1 second. God as my witness. People dreaming of a better tomorrow. That is why. Okay, we're bombing out here. So we're going to just we're doing quick repairs of the studio. Live on air. Because that's just how we do it on this podcast. We have no idea what's going on in any part of the day because we are idiots here. I'm just talking to fill the air so that way, I don't look as dumb. And yeah, here we go. You ready? I'm ready. Let's make sure that this works. Let's hope. All right, we got ourselves a 2018. I performed drag during an employment. Media was released on international platforms. Oh my goodness. Since then, I've grown not as a drag queen, but leader. This is the U.S. Navy being an advocate for the LGBT community in the military. What is happening? Many have tried bringing me down. TikToks. Many have tried to silence me. I'm reading the quotes here. Now, 2022, the Navy has invited me to be the Navy Digital Ambassador. Holy sweet Christ above me. That is, because that's, you know what? I could take a real Tucker Carlson approach here, but let's read just a few paragraphs here. The U.S. Navy invited an active duty drag queen to be a digital ambassador as part of a recent drive to attract the most talented and diverse workforce in combat plunging recruitment. Yes, that's what we need overseas is that'll defeat the Russians, right? That'll be the one thing that defeats the Russians is the Chinese wouldn't know what to do. Can you imagine the U.S. Navy, a ship rolls in and you think all you hear is down at the YMCA and a bunch of drag queens just come out? Normandy is just like it's a they go. Imagine the idea of a bunch of drag queens on the beaches of Normandy coming out and they're just like, you better work. And all of a sudden the Russians are like, oh, diverse hiring. I can finally be myself. And they put down their weapons and they pull out their lipstick and it's just like it's a drag queen dance off. That's going to be the next war. Is we're going to take drag queens and we're going to have dance offs on the beaches in Normandy. That's what's going to be next. Once they break through in Russia, it's over. It's game over. The U.S. is already predicting this. They're way ahead of everybody else. That's why you got to respect the U.S. military. If there's anything that they know, it's just how to be a superpower, right? And they're getting ahead of the curve. You know, drag queens taking over. I don't know if you've seen Drag Syndrome, but if you haven't, just give that a little Instagram. They've got everybody doing drag. Yeoman, second class. Joshua Kelly, who identifies as a non-binary, was appointed as the first of 5 Navy digital ambassadors in a pilot program that ran from October to March. Kelly, whose stage name is Harpy Daniels, has shared their journey on TikTok and Instagram. I like how the New York Post even went to the extent of making sure of getting pronouns right with the non-binary thing there. Very well. You know what? Way to be ahead of the curve. You know, you always want to be on the right side of history. Where they described how they began performing on board and became an advocate for people who were oppressed for years in the service. Why now? When now? See, what happened? When did everybody become so self-righteous that their path just has to be the beacon of hope all the time, you know? Just like when I'm thinking military, right? When I'm thinking military, I'm thinking it's like disenfranchised individuals that just don't have the opportunity to go to college. So what does the war machine do? Be like, listen, we'll give you a degree, but you're probably going to get murdered in cold blood fighting a war for monetary profits, okay? You're going to fight out, we're going to mask it for the idea of possibly terrorism or there's something looming, like your safety is always at risk. And while we're doing that, we're going to take the poor who believe that, what they're about to fight, or not even what they're about to fight, that just wanted a college education and, life just handed a few lemons to ma and pa, and they can't afford to put you in an Ivy League school. So what we're going to do is you're going to join the military, get that degree, and you know what? Once the fucking war machine gets its claws dug into you, you're never going to fucking be able to leave. But while you're there, you might truly find yourself, after a good, long, hard boot camp, while you're in the barracks, nothing more than being around the boys missing the touch of a woman is going to make you want to put on a set of broad panties and prance around to Lady Gaga's greatest hits just to give a few hard-ons in the barracks. You can get your hole blown out. This is back in the day. I mean, there is women in the military now, but you know what? Sometimes you're away from home for a little while. Some evil thoughts might get in your head. I imagine a few of you guys have spent some time in camp, right? You've spent a few weeks in camp, maybe even months in camp, or you're away from home for a while. And all of a sudden, first day in, you're looking at a few warlocks that you're like, Jesus, I wouldn't fuck that with his dick. By day 19, 20, you're like, oh, God, I wonder, I just wouldn't mind something warm around it. That's all. I'm getting tired of finding new ways to whack it. That's getting old. I've ran through every deep page of Pornhub. I'm watching things that I never thought I'd watch. Never even in my darkest hour. I'm viewing a screen that's feeding me some of the most vile shit I've ever seen, and that's the only way I can get off. And now I'm looking at this warlock down the hallway, and I'm like, fuck, do I? How long before it just turns into you're knocking on the neighbor's door and be like, hey, listen, borrow my hole. You can borrow my hole. I'll borrow your hole. We'll do a little fucking civil exchange here, We'll call it fur trading, We're at the Hudson's Bay. She may not be a beaver pelt, but it'll get the job done. It'll keep you warm. It'll get you a bust. That's all we're looking to do here. How long before you're in the military and you're like, you know what I want to do? I want to strip down. I'm going to put on some fake titties, okay? I'm going to put on fucking I Kissed a Girl by Lady Gaga, and I'm going to lip sync it for the boys. I'm going to get everybody fired up in here. And how long till that just becomes acceptable? Like the military, you're just like, I might be some cannon fodder for, oil, some natural resources. But while I'm there, I'm going to make a fucking statement. God, we are doomed. The human civilization as a whole is doomed. Maybe the West might take a harder hit than the East. The East is taking a hit. It's just basically which evil do you want right now? That's what you get to decide is what evil do you want? Do you want this? Do you want just it's just everything's queer? You can bang the kids in a Catholic school because it's getting to that point now. If you misgender somebody, you got to do 82 years in prison. You're actually in a work camp. You got to go crush rocks in the Yukon for no money. You get thrown in a work camp like it's slavery in the 1800s. That's what you do. All for throwing around too many pronouns, too many wrong pronouns. Or do you want a surveillance state like China where you tweet the wrong thing, you say the wrong thing about the leader, and you can't leave within a 5-minute distance of your house? There's checkpoints everywhere. They're just constantly monitoring you. Not saying that we don't do that in North America, but it's those are the two options we're looking at right now. Russia, the same way. So I guess if you're leaning a little more extremist, I guess, no, what am I saying? It's extremism on both ends. It's do you want Epstein Island in the streets, or do you just want straight up military state? Because right now it's a tug of war, which way we're going to go. And every time something like this comes out, it's yeah, we're one step closer, right? And then you read about Russia or China or what's happening over there, and you're like, holy shit, what do I want? And then you have to make a conscious decision inside your head. It's do I want to become a drag queen? Or do I just want to be a servant of the state at this point? Do I enjoy lip syncing with lipstick on? Or do I want to be beaten down in the street because I tweeted about the prime minister? tough options right now. That's what we're dealing with right now. And it's not like left and right. We can use that. It can go red, blue. I don't give a fuck what you want to use. Use whatever you want to make a decision inside your head. We got to get one of them charts. We'll make a chart, pros and cons of both. All right, this guy goes on. From joining to 2016 and being able to share my drag experience on my off time with fellow sailors has been a blessing. You know, they always said sailors were a bit weird, didn't they? Wrote on Instagram in November when announcing their appointment as a digital ambassador to their more than 8,000 followers. Oh, wow. 8,000 followers is all you need to be a digital ambassador for the U.S. Navy. Now, this is probably sending some of these actual influencers into the stratosphere, because you know how hard it is to show your hole on Instagram to get a brand deal these days. It's getting rather difficult. You know, I'm to the point now where I almost have to, you know what? I should go join the military, because what do I got? Like 48,000 followers on Instagram? I wonder what they're paying. It all comes down to dollars and cents, okay? For me to go and shake my tail feathers to a YMCA EDM remix in front of children wouldn't cost that much. You know, I'll go to the school and do a little drag time story hour. What are you paying? What are you paying? It's all about money these days. It's all about the money. You know? It's all about the money. You know how much money those outfits probably cost? And then if you're able to convince them that they are non-binary and the transition to being a woman is a good idea, or vice versa, you know, we're not discriminating here. It's $1 billion industry. Are you going to kick me some fucking commission? I'll go into the elementary school and be like, listen, you remember when you were in school, and then they'd always they'd bring in these drug dealers, or they'd bring in I'd imagine down in the States, they got military recruitments right out of fucking high school where they're like, listen, I know things aren't going so well in your double wide over there in the west end of the city. Have you ever thought about joining the military? You know, I wonder what they would pay me to go into high schools and convince kids to transition. Like, I want commission on that. I want commission. Hey, when you go to the doctor, just let them know, what's my drag name going to be? Poison Cox or something. Poison Ivy. I don't know. Poison Ivy Cock. Motley Goo. That's what I want to. Motley shoot your goo up my back. That's so dumb. Motley shoot my goo up your back is coming to perform his favorite song, the YMCA EDM remix to the grade 11 class at St. Francis Elementary fucking school. And I'm going to hand out, I'm actually going to tag them. I'm going to put a digital ID inside their hands so when they go to transition that I can collect my commission off of it. Because retirement, I want it young, okay? I want a nice, early, young retirement, and your kids are going to be, I can't say half this with a straight face. Your kids are gonna be the reason I retire at 42. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in there and hoorah. I'm going to be like fucking Navy boy Steve over here, and I are going to go in and we're going to convince the kids to transition so we can start adding to the $1 billion industry that it's becoming, and I can cash out and I can go kick my feet up in the islands of Tahiti, getting my hog slobbed on by probably one of the kids that I transitioned, you know, because that's what you do when you make a lot of money. You become a pedophile. There's a range of money that you make. You just like, okay, what am I in, the pedophile tax bracket now? That's lovely. But it's good. Speaking of which, speaking of the kid, this took a turn for the worse, didn't it? You know, this is something I found funny. Is like, we're always looking for somebody to be our savior, right? Like nobody really just takes responsibility anymore, which is it's nice, you know, because I can get away with a lot more. Because I can just be like, well, nobody told me it was wrong. You know, sorry, Your Honor, I didn't know it was wrong. But this studyfinds.com or .org, sorry, it's an organization, my apologies, reports this. Kidfluencer culture is harming kids in several ways. So why isn't there meaningful regulation of it? Because it's called being a fucking parent. Parents share content of their children for I can't remember how to say that word. Myriad. I don't know. I got a reading level of a grade 4, which is why I'd be able to convince kids to transition, including to connect with friends and family and to seek validation or support. However, some parents also do this for commercial gain. They manage their children as social media kidfluencers, allowing them to work with brands to market products to other children and adults. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission's latest interim report for the Digital Platform Services Inquiry has acknowledged key issues relevant to kidfluencers, including privacy concern and possible labor exploitation issues. Our research, published recently in the MC Journal, further highlights how kidfluencer culture opens the door for possible child exploitation and the host of other problems. Boy, who would have thought? Who would have thought exploiting children for financial gain would result in harm to the child? I would have never thought that in a million years. It's almost as if millennial parents are fucking stupid. It's almost like millennial individuals who can see an opportunity on having a child and exploiting them on the internet to make sure that there's financial gain and mommy and daddy can have a nice retirement. And who am I to judge? Because I just spent the last 20 minutes telling you what I'm going to get up to, but I'm not going to go to the effort of raising a child. No. You did all the heavy lifting for me. Why would I want to go and dedicate that many years of my life to a possible outcome of this child being a breakout star? No. Is YouTube the world's most popular babysitter? Is what they add on the article. Speaking to Forbes in 2019, Eyal Baumel, the chief executive of Eula, a management company which also manages digital child stars, described YouTube as the most popular babysitter in the world. Since then, the COVID pandemic has prompted, I'd prefer if you use the COVID lockdown, has prompted a surge in screen time for kids who are being marketed toys as well as other products normally targeted to adults. Interesting. Product lines for kids are big business. In 2021, the global toy market was projected to grow from about $141 billion to $230.6 billion by 2028. It's now common to see YouTube kidfluencers marketing toys to other kids. See, we have strayed away from being human. That's our issue. We're just marketing machines. You know what I mean? It's just marketing. What can I sell you? How many times do you open up a feed of any sort and what do you have? You have some jackass that's trying to be like, this is how I made $1 million on Amazon Associates by marketing to other fucking retards like myself. You know? This is what I did to make $1 million from losers sitting on their phones all day. This is what I did. And you can do it too. So now you just have a website flooded with products in your news feeds and everything is just marketing, money. Don't go out and live. Well, God forbid you go on a fucking hike, you go and see a mountain. No. You know, and then you see these influencers, right? These influencers and these Amazon associate losers that are sitting in like these, because before it became like overly popularized, I remember looking into it and then there was something disgusting about it. Because I was like, all I know is I want to work. I want to do something that is very unconventional and maybe something on the internet, and then comedy was always like the one thing that I've always been drawn to. Right. And so I spent a good majority of my time always looking to be money. And you want to know what I did? I fucking finally realized that just chasing money all the time is not really a fucking fulfilling life. You know, it just doesn't seem right for some reason. You know, you get around these people that all they want to do is talk about money, right? That's all money. Oh God, do I love the money. Give me the money. You know, and it's just like you're bored of it. And then you get two of them in the same room and it's just like, Jesus Christ, I wish a bulldozer or maybe one of Putin's rockets is misled and it just smashes right into my fucking skull and blows up this goddamn entire building that I'm inside. So nobody else has to go through what I'm going through listening to these two jackasses over here just talk money, you know? And as the time marched on, and before I got to that thought process of like, this is just fucking infuriating, it disgusts me inside, I don't feel human anymore, I was reading a lot about like marketing and a lot about fucking, and I understand like I'm part of that cog in the machine of like marketing my own shows and stuff like that. I understand that. And am I adding to the problem or taking it away? I'm 100% adding to the problem, but at least I like to believe that I'm giving an experience rather than some like cheap Chinese horse shit that there's just being sold to you so some fucking jerk off can make us 35 fucking cents, you know? We're actually pursuing something that could be, you know, very fulfilling, I guess would be the way to describe it. But this marketing. I got kids. I need marketing money. Put my kid on YouTube, you know? And I just seen a report too that most of these kids that grown up, like that one that was like playing with toys. Remember that? That was the first one. And then these kids would sit there and watch this kid play with toys rather than just going out and playing with toys. You know, it's and I know there's an argument to be had because like there's parents that'll be like, well, why would you watch fucking kids playing video games when you can just play the video game yourself? And it's same with sports and whatever. Anything that you find into. Why do you like going to fucking? Why are you watching a fishing show? You're watching a guy fix a car on YouTube. Why don't you just go fix your own car? You know, and there's an argument to be had with that. But at the same time, it's like, which one of those is like, is there any sort of fulfillment that comes with that? Like if your kid's playing with a toy rather than, or watching a kid play with a toy than playing with the toy that you got him, what does that say about you as a parent? Maybe it's time to shut the fucking TV off, you know, shut the TV off, maybe play with your kid. All the kid wants to do is just sit here and watch YouTube. Just wants to sit there and watch the YouTube all day long. Won't play with any of the toys. Maybe it's time for you to step up and be a fucking parent. Maybe did you think about that? Did you think maybe going in the backyard and just building something that doesn't mean jack shit? It could be just it could be a dirt pile. And you two just sit there and play dinky cars on it. You know what I mean? But why would you want to do that when you could just turn on the TV and let the kid watch another kid play with other toys instead of being a parent? Or you could just be a smart parent and start filming your kid playing with the toys and put it on the internet. Next thing you know, you're marketing. Oh, there it is. Ryan's World. That's what it was. The most popular toy review channel has millions of subscribers. Oh, go down. And their hosts are some of YouTube's top earners. Ryan's World is probably the most well-known channel in this genre. Conservative estimates suggest 10-year-old Ryan Kanji's family earns about $25 million a year. Jesus Christ. Apart from YouTube, a significant number of kids and teens are also spending time on Instagram. This is just depressing. Marketing. I can't handle any more of that. And with that being said, you know what time it is? It is time for hate mail. You know what? We've gathered up some hate mail, and you can email me, unclehack@dangercats.tv. It's so nice having the soundboard back. I miss doing this part right here. This is the funnest because I feel like I'm a part of a radio show, and I got to improvise on the fly to convince you. Sending your evil thoughts to me in the email is a great idea to read them out on a podcast because I want to like level out society. I know there's like ranges of emotion and I'm looking to just like zen this bitch out. So Get your hate out of your heart and send it to me to read to an audience. You know, unclehack at dangercats.tv, subject line, hate mail. Use email. I'm not going to read your shit on fucking Instagram. Don't DM me it. I will ignore it like an asshole. I will. I've actively done it numerous times. If you listen to the show, unclehack at dangercats.tv. It's an email address. For those of you that don't know what an email is, we're old school like that. We use email. No DM, no horse shit. Okay? I'd even go to the point of like, if, let's try this out. I don't know if it'll work or not, but if you send me a voice note of you speaking and email that to unclehack at dangercats.tv. I know this is a lot to ask, and some of you may not even know what the fuck I'm talking about, but if you record it, your voice and how you want to speak, because I've seen some of the typing and you know that my reading level isn't very great. So record your question and I'll play it on here. Say whatever the hell you want. I don't give a shit. Okay. I'm to the point where I don't care anymore. I'm just doing this for fun. And it's supposed to be fun for everybody. It's not about marketing. But anyways, I'm throwing it out there. Why nobody has thought of that prior, rather than having to type out an email? So just email a voice note. Genius. I know. I'm one of the smartest guys on the fucking planet, and nobody wants to recognize it. And it can be rather infuriating. Anyways, our first piece of hate mail of the day. Howdy hack. I'm a young buck going to college in Havre, Montana. As it turns out, there isn't shit all to do in this town, and I find myself traveling every weekend to other cities for a good time. Havre is only 40 miles from the Canadian border. I'm writing to ask if it's worth the trip up north. Medicine Hat and Lethbridge would be the closest. Any leads on where I can have myself a grand old time in either of those cities? Thanks, Byron. You know what? Good for you, sir, because I just so happen to be an expert in those lands because I grew up in the middle of both of those cities that you just named right there. And I will say this, my friend. The drinking age is tremendously lower than America. So Medicine Hat, okay, I'm going to do a free plug here because this is one of my favorite bars on the fucking planet, okay? If you are planning to head up to Alberta, I recommend going to Medicine Hat at Ralph's. Ralph's Steakhouse and Bar. That, my friend, is a guaranteed good time. Never had a bad time in there, and it's the drunkest I've ever been numerous times in my life. Inside those walls were at the lovely lands of Ralph's Steakhouse and Bar. Now, as far as Lethbridge, I used to frequent a place called the Roadhouse, but I don't know how old you are, but there is a place called Club Lime. And that's a guaranteed good time. Or the Canadian Brew House, I believe, on the south side is also a guaranteed good time. So thank you for writing into the show. I hope you make it up to either of those cities. I highly recommend Ralph's in Medicine Hat. Grab yourself a little hotel room there. Plus, the American dollar goes a fucking long way up here with the exchange. So you might find yourself having a grand old time in Canada very soon. And we thank you for writing into the show. Our next piece of hate mail coming up right now. Okay, here we go. How are you now, Hack Daddy? I hope she's doing great. Love the pod. I don't got hate mail for you at the moment, but give me a second. Love what you're doing. I've got the boys listening to you. So the word has been spread just as much as Trudy's carbon tax across Canada. What a twat. Anyways, I'm headed with my brother and buddy to see you April 21st in Collinwood for your aptitude for spite tour. Gonna be a great time. I've been hoping you'd come here since I've messaged you on Snap time ago to come to Greasy, Ontario. Also, one last thing, I'll turn it into hate mail. Now, where the fuck are your DC 69 stickers, you twat? I've been waiting and checking and nothing come on. I want to support the show and the brand, so get some stickers and new merch rolling so I can support it all along with the boys. Get your head out of your ass. Love you, buddy. Keep up the good work. Cheers. Sincerely, T-Night. Go ahead and mention me in the pod. I don't give a fuck. Cheers, brother. All right. That feels good, doesn't it? Having a little piece of hate mail fucking wrote into the show. And our final piece of hate mail. We will get right into her and end the show on a high note. You know what I'm saying? End the show on a high note. Oh, what the fuck? Of course. Now? What is this? What a fucking asshole. Jesus Christ. Sometimes I tell you, one day we're going to have a studio and fucking producers and all that shit. Hey, Uncle Hack, you dirtbag. I hope you're doing well. Today, my hate mail is about the asshole of Canada, which would be Quebec. I was born and raised in Montreal. When I was 22, moved to beautiful Alberta, Red Deer, Edmonton, then finally Calgary, which I fell in love with. When I was 30, I decided to follow my buddy and moved back here to help him with a project. 1 week after, I immediately regretted my decision of coming back to this cesspool of high taxes and separatists who think Quebec is the center of the universe. I'm a third-year framer / drywaller, and I get taxed almost 40% of my weekly pay. I will admit the one good thing about this dump is that the beer is cheap as hell, which is good because I need a lot of it to cope with my poor life decision. It's been 2+ years since I've left Alberta now with a wife and a child about to come, but she seems down to follow me back to AB, and if all goes well, I should be back in a couple of years for good. Fuck this piss hole of a province, Queerbec. I like that. And anyways, man, you give me great laughs and I enjoy the shit out of your show. Take care, bud, Rick. All right, Rick, thank you. And we apologize that you made such a fucking horrendous decision to follow such a stupid friend that you moved back to the asshole. I can only imagine what you're going through. Emotional ranges of just like possible, what do they always say online now? Unaliving yourself. Isn't that something? That's where we're at now. We can't even say suicide anymore. I want to unalive myself. Can you imagine that? Imagine somebody wrote a suicide note and they put unalive in it. I unalived myself. I would immediately, well, I'm glad he's not here. Anyways, we feel for you, buddy, and we can't wait for you to come back. Anyways, thank you for listening to another episode of the Uncle Hack Podcast. And if you're interested and want to support the show, the best way to do so is hit up a live show. Or if you can't make a live show, please, by all means, check out the Patreon. We got some shit on there. We also have a live album on dangercatshop.com. Myself, Brett Forte, and Sam Walker, which live album just got accepted on Sirius XM. So we had a couple big wins while we were out in Ontario. Anyways, we appreciate you listening to another episode of the Uncle Hack Podcast. Smell you later.